Wow, so the United States is planning to build a port in Gaza to be able to ship supplies to Palestinians that need aid. So instead of just telling the Israeli government to stop murdering Palestinians and denying Palestinians aid, the United States wants to spend millions of dollars building a port just to ship aid to Gaza. I mean, I'm not against helping Palestinians build a port in order to do some shipping and stuff like that, but to build a port instead of telling your allies to stop murdering people and starving Palestinians, that's just stupid.
In northern Gaza, children clutch empty pots and buckets, awaiting food at this street kitchen. The man in charge says they've run out of essentials, rice and sugar, in a region where the UN says they're dying from hunger.
People are hungry. It's been 4 or 5 months without any aid. Everyone has lost weight and the children are suffering from malnutrition and sickness. The thirst is killing us, the starvation is killing us, and the poverty is killing us.
In an unprecedented move to increase aid, President Biden will tonight...
Okay, if the Israeli government was actually a good government that only cared about taking out a terrorist group, they wouldn't be doing all they can to prevent Palestinians from getting food. They would see that innocent people are starving and suffering and would do more to help the innocents get food while tackling the bad people and taking them out. But we don't see the Israeli government do that. We see the Israeli government collectively punishing everybody in Gaza.
announced the creation of a port by the US military on Gaza's coast. Nowhere near enough support is getting to northern Gaza, with airdrops insufficient and the World Food Programme saying a convoy of 14 aid trucks were turned away by the Israelis this week. More would...
Why did the Israeli government turn down 14 aid trucks for Palestinians if they weren't looking to starve Palestinians?
Reach Palestinians if there was a ceasefire, but American hopes of a deal by Ramadan look bleak, leaving the people of Gaza mired in war amidst a looming famine. And with the families of the more than 100 Israeli hostages still waiting for their loved ones to return.
And you got the family members of hostages that were killed by the Israeli government upset Israeli government killing their kids.
You can sleep at night. Look at us. Look at them. All the time. Keep them in the top of the agenda.
In London today, the hostage family...
What? And the first killings of Israeli hostages happened or so ago when 3 Israeli hostages escaped Hamas holding white flags, speaking in Hebrew, asking the IDF for help. The IDF shot them down. And what happened to those members who fired upon the hostages? Nothing. The commander said that they were just. And then you had 3 Israeli hostages blown up in an Israeli airstrike, while 2 were rescued. What happened to the people that killed the hostages in the airstrike? Nothing. And then you had a set of 10 hostages killed by another Israeli airstrike, and the Israeli government knew that the hostages were in those buildings and still did the airstrike. How can we how can we honestly say that the Israeli government cares about these hostages when they're killing the hostages?
families called on the government to bring them home. But as they spoke, talks with Hamas in Egypt came to an end with no ceasefire deal that would have freed some of the hostages in exchange for a pause in fighting and the release of Palestinian prisoners. We believe that it would only release about 40 hostages within 6 weeks. Would that be something that you would be in favour of, even though it would mean not all of the hostages being returned?
If we see someone come back, it's good for us. If only one now come inside to Israel, we know that we have hope. This is what we need. We need hope.
Yeah, I bet these people are hoping that they're able to convince the Israeli government to do some kind of hostage deal so that they're alive instead of murdered by the Israeli government.
In Israel, while a majority support the war, many are growing angry at Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's been criticised for his conduct during the war. And at a rally last week, Benny Gantz, a member of the war cabinet and a Netanyahu rival, joined the hostage families.
It's honestly kind of sad. I mean, they're kind of have the right point as to why they're upset with Netanyahu, but it's only about that the Israeli hostages are used as pawns for Netanyahu and his government, and not also the fact that the Israeli government is murdering a bunch of innocent people. Though I definitely would be upset if one of my family members was kidnapped and used as a pawn by my government, kidnapped by a terrorist government that was funded by my own government, and my own government was using said hostage as a pawn to murder innocent people. This is definitely a reason why Netanyahu should be removed from being prime minister, besides the fact that he's already being charged with, like bribery and corruption.
And this week, he travelled to Washington and London as allies are getting frustrated with Netanyahu, who today said Israel would launch an offensive on Rafah, despite calls for him not to do so.
So he's telling people he's going to commit an ethnic cleansing of Rafah because with how dense it is now, with 1.5 million people there, any airstrike is going to kill innocent people. So Bibi Netanyahu and defenders of the Israeli government won't be able to say that the Israeli government isn't killing innocent people when they start airstriking people in Rafah and start killing massive amounts of innocent people because of how densely populated it is. No matter who you are, as long as if you try to defend the Israeli government, you just show yourself to be a supporter of mass murder and genocide.
There is international pressure, and it's growing. But when the pressure rises, we must close ranks. We need to stop.
Yeah, there's international pressure against you to stop murdering people, and there's national pressure against you by your own. You're corrupt.
Stand together against attempts to stop the war.
That rhetoric will not please Washington, with officials concerned about the wider region. Yesterday, Yemen's Houthis attacked another ship in the Gulf of Aden, killing 3 people.
I don't agree with the Houthis killing innocent people, but it seems like it's just weird how the terrorist group, or the groups labeled as terrorists by the United States, are the only ones looking to help defend the Palestinian people against a genocide. It's pretty weird when you have the quote-unquote bad guys help defend the good guys against other bad guys.
Back in Gaza, The situation is desperate. A scrap of cardboard is used to get every last bit of flour. Tonight's announcement